Okay. So, good afternoon to everyone. So, last time we have started our practical number one, that is related to the basic of fluid mechanics or basic properties related to the fluid mechanics. And in that, we have summarized or we have seen four property. Out of that, first one was the density, that is also called as a mass density. After mass density, we have seen the weight density, that is also called as a specific weight. After weight density, we have seen the specific volume, and after specific volume, we have seen the relative gravity or Dada Shingate. Can you unmute yourself? So fourth property, we have seen specific gravity or relative density. So based on this, also we have seen the problems or numericals based on this four basic property. Now after this basic property, the next basic property is called as a viscosity. There is one more basic property which is related to the fluid, that is called as a viscosity. So related to the viscosity, you might be knowing that if you observe that water flowing in the river, if you observe that water which is flowing through the river, so suppose this is the top layer, this is the next adjacent layer, this is the next one. Don't write roll number in the chat box. Manore. So suppose this is the water which is flowing through the river, and suppose this is the ground level. This is the ground level. Now you will observe that whatever water is flowing through the river, you will observe that, or you will be able to observe that whatever top layer is there, means whatever topmost layer of that river will be there, that will have the higher velocity, that will have the highest velocity, and whatever bottommost layer will be there, whatever bottommost layer will be there, that will have the very less value of velocity, that means lesser value of velocity. And whatever intermediate layer will be there in between topmost layer and bottommost layer, those intermediate layer will have the velocity in between the velocity of the water or velocity of the liquid which is available at the topmost layer and which is available at the bottommost layer. So here this will have the highest value of velocity, this will have the lowest value of velocity. And here if you draw the velocity gradient line, you draw the velocity gradient line, then here as bottommost layer will have the velocity nearly equal to zero. Suppose that point is here. Suppose the layer which is nearer to the bottommost layer, that is having somewhat value of velocity, next layer will have the higher value of velocity, then again next layer will have the higher value of velocity, and this value of velocity will goes on increasing. That means suppose topmost layer is having the value of velocity up to here, and if you draw this line or if you join these points, you will observe that the velocity gradient line or velocity gradient line will be likewise. Those are nothing but the values of velocity at each and every layer. Values of velocity at each and every layer. Suppose if you are considering the topmost layer is having the value of velocity as u plus du. Topmost layer is having the value of velocity as u plus du. Then whatever layer which is next to that topmost layer will be there, that will have the value of velocity as a u. Then whatever next layer will be there, that will have the next value of velocity as a u minus du, u minus du. So why there is a change in value of velocity as layer goes on increasing? So this is mainly because of the property called as a viscosity. This is mainly because of the property of fluid called as a viscosity. So viscosity of fluid or viscosity is nothing but property of fluid by virtue of which it resists to its own flow. It resists to its own flow. That means whatever these two adjacent, whenever you are going to consider these two adjacent layer of the fluid as topmost layer or as two adjacent layer are having the different values of velocity. That's why there will be the formation of a relative velocity. There will be the formation of a relative velocity, and because of this relative velocity, as topmost layer is moving the or as topmost layer is moving with the higher speed as compared to the its adjacent layer, that's why their resistive force will be generated. Their resistive force will be generated between these two layers, and because of that resistive force, because of that resistive force, the fluid will have the tendency to resist to its own flow. That tendency will be called as a viscosity. So here same example is explained here. So this is nothing but the, suppose water which is available in the river, this is the topmost layer, next adjacent layer, next adjacent layer, this is the bottommost layer which is in contact with the ground surface. So bottommost layer is having the value of velocity nearly equal to 0, and as we are going in the upward direction, the value of velocity will goes on increasing. So same, whatever velocity curve or whatever velocity gradient curve is there, so here I explain that velocity gradient curve. This is nothing but the velocity gradient curve. So each and every layer, so top bottommost layer will have the value as 0, next layer will have some value, next layer value will goes on increasing. So topmost layer will have the value of velocity as a u plus du. Next layer will have the value of velocity as a u. Then if we are going to consider one more next layer, this value of velocity will be equal to u minus du. Likewise, u minus du. So this property will be called as the viscosity. So viscosity is nothing but the property of fluid which determines its resistance to its own flow or resistance to its shearing stresses. So whatever this value of whatever this viscosity term is there, that viscosity is mainly depend upon two parameters. Viscosity of any fluid mainly depend upon two parameters. Out of that, first parameter is called as a cohesive force of attraction, and second one will be called as a molecular momentum exchange between the fluid layer. Whatever viscosity in any of the fluid will be there, that will be mainly because of two parameters. First one will be called as a cohesive force of attraction, and second one will be the molecular momentum exchange. Out of that, what is meant by cohesive force of attraction? What is meant by cohesive force of attraction? The force of attraction between two similar molecules. Force of attraction between two similar molecules is called as a cohesive force of attraction. And what is meant by molecular momentum exchange? So to understand that molecular momentum exchange, if you take one example, suppose we are having one suppose we are having one bucket, and in that bucket, suppose water is available. In that bucket, suppose water is available. So whenever I'm going to heat that water, whenever I'm going to heat that bucket or heat that water, so first of all, whatever heat will be there, that heat will be transferred from one molecule to another molecule, and that is mainly because of transfer of molecule from one place to another place. At micro level, if you are going to observe that water which is available in the bucket, and when you are going to heat that water with the help of burner or with the help of suppose any heating medium, so here whatever heat will be transferred, that heat will be transferred because of molecular momentum transfer. That means here whatever this molecule will be there, so first of all this molecule will absorb the heat, and because of heat absorption, here internal energy of this molecule will goes on increasing, and because of increasing internal energy of this molecule will try to move from one position to another position, and while moving that molecule from one position to another position, the heat will be transferred. So that same concept is called as a molecular momentum exchange. So you have to always remember that that viscosity is mainly because of cohesive force of attraction, and second one is because of molecular momentum exchange. Now, related to this viscosity, there is one law called as Newton's law of viscosity. There is one law called as Newton's law of viscosity. So to understand that Newton's law of viscosity, consider the same example, that is nothing but water which is flowing through the river. So topmost layer, bottommost layer, and whatever intermediate layer will be there, that intermediate layer will have the velocity in between topmost layer and bottommost layer. And here, if you are going to draw the velocity gradient line or velocity gradient curve, so that velocity gradient curve will be likewise. It will indicate that topmost layer of that fluid is having the velocity as suppose u, or u plus du, u plus du. Then whatever next layer or whatever next adjacent layer will be there, that will have the value of velocity lower than topmost layer, that is nothing but u, and same value of velocity will goes on decreasing. So here third layer will have the value of velocity as a u minus du likewise. Now here, if you are going to consider these two layers which are adjacent, we are going to consider these two layers which are adjacent to each other. So topmost layer is having the value of velocity as a u plus du, next layer is having the value of velocity as a u. So because of change in velocity here, as both the layer are not moving with the same speed, that's why there will be the relative velocity between both the layer, because of relative velocity between both the layer. And because of this relative velocity, whatever this adjacent layer will be there, that adjacent layer will act the resistive force on the topmost layer. This adjacent layer will add the resistive force to this topmost layer, and because of this here shear stress will be generated. Because of this resistive force, shear stress will be generated, and whatever value of shear stress will be there, that shear stress will be directly proportional to that value of shear stress generated between any two adjacent layer of the fluid flow, that will be directly proportional to change in velocity, that will be directly proportional to change in velocity between that adjacent layer and vertical distance between that adjacent layer. So here, if I'm considering this as vertical distance, if I'm considering vertical distance as a y, then the vertical distance between these two adjacent layer will be equal to dy. So du by dy, tau is directly proportional to du by dy. Here, this tau is directly proportional to du by dy equation will be called as the Newton's law of viscosity. So statement of Newton's law of viscosity, the shear stress generated. How that shear stress is generated? Because of relative motion between two adjacent layers. So shear stress generated because of relative motion between two adjacent layers in a fluid flow is directly proportional to change in velocity of that adjacent layer to the change in distance. That will be called as the Newton's law of viscosity. So this is the Newton's. So for explanation of Newton's law of viscosity, same diagram here you can observe. Here you can observe the same diagram. So here this is the solid boundary. This is the upper layer which is having the velocity as u plus du. Lower layer or adjacent layer velocity u, and vertical distance dy, and change in velocity du. So according to Newton's law of viscosity, shear stress generated between fluid element layer, shear stress generated between fluid element layer is directly proportional to rate of shear strain. Whereas rate of shear strain is nothing but du by dy. Whatever term du by dy is there, that is called as a rate of shear strain, or that is also called as the angular deformation also. So tau is directly proportional to du by dy. This is the statement, or this is the equation which is applicable for Newton's law of viscosity. Now here, if I want to remove the proportionality sign, then instead of proportionality sign, I have to use the coefficient of proportionality. Instead of here in the same equation, if I want to remove the proportionality sign, and instead of proportionality sign, if I want to keep the equal to sign, then I have to use the coefficient of proportionality. So here coefficient of proportionality is nothing but mu, that is called as the coefficient of dynamic viscosity or coefficient of viscosity only. So tau is equal to mu into du by dy, whereas mu is called as a constant of proportionality or coefficient of dynamic viscosity or only viscosity. So this is called as a Newton's law of viscosity. Now whatever viscosity term is there, that viscosity will have its two types. First one will be called as a dynamic viscosity and second one will be called as a kinematic viscosity. Viscosity will have two types. First one will be called as the dynamic viscosity. Second one will be called as the kinematic viscosity. Out of that dynamic viscosity, as based on Newton's law of viscosity, as we are getting the equation as a tau is equal to mu into du by dy, mu into du by dy, whereas tau is called as the shear stress generated. du by dy, du by dy is called as a rate of shear strain, or that is also called as the angular deformation, or that is also called as a change in velocity in the y direction, or change in velocity per unit change in distance. So here mu is called as a coefficient of or constant of proportionality, that is also called as a coefficient of dynamic viscosity or only viscosity. So here based on this equation I will get the value for mu. Here I will get the value for mu. Here value for mu will be equal to tau divided by du by dy, du by dy. So here mu is nothing but coefficient of dynamic viscosity, or it is also called as a dynamic viscosity only. So here based on this formula you can define the dynamic viscosity. So dynamic viscosity is defined as it is the ratio of shear stress generated. It is the ratio of shear stress generated between two adjacent layers to the rate of shear strain. Du by dy is called as a rate of shear strain, or it is also called as a change in velocity in the y direction. So mu dynamic viscosity is defined as it is the ratio of shear stress generated to the rate of shear strain. So tau is equal to mu into du by dy. That's why mu is equal to tau divided by du by dy. So dynamic viscosity or only viscosity can also be defined as the ratio of shear stress or shear stress required for producing unit rate of shear strain. Shear stress required for producing unit rate of shear strain, that is called as the dynamic viscosity. Or in other words, you can also define as it is the ratio of shear stress to the rate of shear strain. Now, whatever this term mu is there, so here if I want to find out the unit of that dynamic viscosity, if I want to find out the unit of dynamic viscosity, the unit of tau is nothing but shear stress. Tau is nothing but shear stress. So stress will have the unit as a Newton per meter square. Stress is having the unit as a Newton per meter square. Whatever this term du by dy is there, though we are saying this as a shear strain or rate of shear strain, then also in actual whatever this unit of or whatever this du by dy term is there, out of that du is nothing but change in velocity. दोन लेअरच्या मधले व्हेलॉसिटीचं चेंज, त्याला काय म्हणतो आपण, du म्हणतोय. हॅलो, whether voice is clear?
No sir.
Whether my voice is clear for remaining student? आवाज येतोय का व्यवस्थित?
Yes sir.
हॅलो, whether
Yes,
my
sir.
voice is clear? सगळ्यांना येतोय आवाज व्यवस्थित? काय प्रॉब्लेम आहे, काय ब्रेक होतोय का मधून?
Yes sir.
व्हॉइस ब्रेक होतोय का? मग ब्रेक होतोय? रोल नंबर 16 ब्रेक होतोय का? शंकर, voice is clear? Okay. No problem. Okay. So here unit of tau shear stress is nothing but Newton per meter square. Du by dy, though we are saying it as du by dy term is nothing but rate of shear strain, but in actual that du is nothing but change in velocity. So change in velocity means unit of velocity is meter per second. Unit of velocity is nothing but meter per second divided by change dy. dy म्हणजे काय होतं या ठिकाणी जर बघितलं तुम्ही, du आणि dy काय होतं, du म्हणजे काय, अप्पर लेयरची व्हेलॉसिटी काय होती, u प्लस du होती, आणि ऍडजस्टंट लेयरची व्हेलॉसिटी काय होती, u होती. या दोन्हीच्या मधला डिफरन्स इन व्हेलॉसिटी म्हणजे काय होता, du होता. आणि जे काय व्हर्टिकल डिस्टन्स आहे ते आपण वाय टर्न इंडिकेट करत होतो, टॉपमोस्ट लेअर आणि त्याचा ऍडजस्टंट लेअर, या दोन्हीच्या मधलं जे व्हर्टिकल डिस्टन्स आहे त्याला काय म्हणतोय मी, dy म्हणतो. So du is nothing but change in velocity. dy is nothing but change in distance. So here whatever dy term is there, dy is nothing but change in distance. So distance, change in distance will be mentioned in terms of meter. So Newton per meter. So this meter will get cancelled, and whatever unit of dynamic viscosity will be there, that dynamic viscosity will be represented, or dynamic viscosity will be given in terms of Newton second per meter square. In terms of Newton second per meter square. So this is the SI unit of dynamic viscosity. This is the SI unit of dynamic viscosity. Now, if you see the CGS unit, so CGS unit of dynamic viscosity will be, instead of Newton, there will be dyne second per centimeter square. Dyne second per centimeter square. That will be the CGS unit of dynamic viscosity. That will be the CGS unit of dynamic viscosity. So whatever CGS unit of dynamic viscosity is there, that CGS unit of dynamic viscosity is also called as a Poise. CGS unit of dynamic viscosity is also called as a Poise. SI unit of dynamic viscosity. SI unit of dynamic viscosity is nothing but Newton second per meter square. So out of that Newton second per meter square is also called as a Pascal. Newton per meter square is also called as a Pascal. So Pascal second is also the unit of SI unit of dynamic viscosity. And CGS unit of dynamic viscosity is nothing but dyne second per centimeter square, and 1 dyne second per centimeter square is nothing but equal to 1 Poise. 1 dyne second per centimeter square is nothing but equal to 1 Poise. Now, here if you want to convert CGS unit into SI unit, then here 1 Poise is nothing but equal to 1 upon 10. 1 Poise is nothing but equal to 1 upon 10, which is equal to 0.1 Newton second per meter square. CGS चं SI मध्ये कन्वर्जन 1 Poise is nothing but equal to 1 upon 10. 1 upon 10 म्हणजेच किती 0.1 न्यूटन सेकंद पर मीटर स्क्वेअर, किंवा न्यूटन पर मीटर स्क्वेअर म्हणजे काय पास्कल सेकंद. So 1 Poise is equal to 0.1 Pascal second. Then sometimes in the problem, instead of saying Poise, they will also mention as a centipoise. They will give the unit as a centipoise. So 1 centipoise is nothing but 1 upon 100 Poise. And value of dynamic viscosity of water. At 20 degrees centigrade, it's approximately 1 centipoise. So whatever this bracketed term is there, that bracketed term is very important as far as various competitive exams are concerned. Bracketed term is very much important as far as various competitive exams are concerned. So this is related to the unit of dynamic viscosity. Now, whatever another type of viscosity is there, that another type of viscosity is called as a kinematic viscosity. Another type of viscosity is there that is called as a kinematic viscosity. So here that kinematic viscosity is denoted by the term nu. Kinematic viscosity will be denoted by term nu, and kinematic viscosity is nothing but it is the simply ratio of dynamic viscosity to the mass density. Mu upon rho. Kinematic viscosity is nothing but the ratio of dynamic viscosity. Mu म्हणजे आहे dynamic viscosity to the mass density or density of that fluid is called as a kinematic viscosity, and that kinematic viscosity will be denoted by term nu. So definition: kinematic viscosity is defined as ratio between dynamic viscosity and density of the fluid. Ratio between dynamic viscosity and density of fluid is called as kinematic viscosity. That will be denoted by letter called as a nu, that is the Greek symbol. So dynamic viscosity nu is equal to mu upon rho. Dynamic viscosity nu is equal to kinematic viscosity nu upon kinematic viscosity is equal to dynamic viscosity divided by mass density, that is nu is equal to mu upon rho. Now here, what will be the unit of kinematic viscosity? Can anyone tell me what will be the unit? What is the unit of dynamic viscosity? Newton second per meter square. Newton second per meter square. What is the unit of density? Kg per meter cube. So what will be the unit of kinematic viscosity? What will be the unit of kinematic viscosity? Can anyone tell me? So if I want to find out the SI unit, so unit of kinematic viscosity is nothing but unit of dynamic viscosity divided by unit of dynamic viscosity divided by unit of mass density. So unit of kinematic viscosity चं unit काय होतं? न्यूटन सेकंड पर मीटर स्क्वेअर. Newton second per meter square per meter cube. So here if I want to find out the unit, so Newton second per meter square, Newton second per meter square into here this term will become as a meter cube per kg. Meter cube per kg. Now here this meter square and this meter cube will get cancelled. So Newton second meter per kg. But here as I am finding the SI unit, that's why in terms of SI unit, kg will not be the SI unit. Kg is the MKS unit. So I need to convert that kg in terms of Newton. Newton. So how to convert that kg in terms of Newton? As I am knowing that weight is nothing but mass into gravitational acceleration. That's why weight upon gravitational acceleration. So what is the unit of mass? Unit of mass is nothing but kg. What is the unit of weight? Unit of weight is nothing but Newton. And what is the unit of g? G is nothing but gravitational acceleration. So gravitational acceleration is always mentioned in terms of meter per second square. So here kg is nothing but Newton second square per meter. So you can convert that kg in terms of SI unit. Kg is nothing but Newton second square per meter. So here if I will put the value of kg as a Newton second square per meter, so I will get that here this Newton second into meter. This Newton second, this meter square, this meter cube got cancelled, into meter term is there, divided by kg. Kg is nothing but Newton second or Newton second square per meter. So here this Newton will get cancelled, this second will get cancelled, and finally I will get the SI unit of kinematic viscosity as a meter square per second. Are you getting how that SI unit of kinematic viscosity is coming? समजतंय कसं आलं? सिम्पली काय केलेलं आपण डेन्सिटी युनिट काय होतं केजी पर मीटर क्यूब होतं, पण केजी टर्म जे आहे ते एमकेएस युनिट आहे. केजी जे आहे ते एमकेएस युनिट आहे. एसआय युनिट काय आहे वेटचं न्यूटन आहे. सो केजीचं मला न्यूटन मध्ये कन्वर्जन काय माहित आहे, वेट इज नथिंग बट मास इंटू ग्रॅव्हिटेशनल एक्सेलरेशन. म्हणजे मास म्हणजे काय झालं, वेट अपॉन ग्रॅव्हिटेशनल एक्सेलरेशन. व्हॉट इज द युनिट ऑफ मास केजी, व्हॉट इज द युनिट ऑफ वेट न्यूटन, what is the unit of gravitational acceleration meter per second square. So kg is equal to Newton second square per meter. So if I will put the value of kg or this conversion of kg, so here in this equation I will get the meter square per second. Are you getting? So SI unit of kinematic viscosity is nothing but meter square per second. What will be the CGS unit of kinematic viscosity, as SI unit is meter square per second. So CGS unit will be centimeter square per second. Centimeter square per second. And whatever CGS unit of kinematic viscosity is there, that is 1 centimeter square per second term is there, that is called as a stroke. That is called as a stroke. So stroke is nothing but 1 centimeter square per second. So CGS unit of kinematic viscosity. CGS unit of kinematic viscosity is nothing but stroke, which is equal to centimeter square per second. Are you getting? So keep in mind that CGS unit of dynamic viscosity is poise, which is nothing but equal to dyne second per centimeter square, and CGS unit of kinematic viscosity is nothing but stroke, which is nothing but centimeter square per second. So this was related to the viscosity. Now, whether there is any effect of temperature on the viscosity, whether there is any effect of temperature on the viscosity of the fluid. So yes, there is a effect of temperature on the viscosity of fluid. So as we are knowing that whatever viscosity of any fluid, that may be liquid, that may be gas, is depend upon cohesive force, is depend upon cohesive force and molecular momentum exchange. Cohesive force and molecular momentum exchange. So here, if I will consider the viscosity of liquid, there is me viscosity of liquid consider kare. Suppose inside one bucket we are having liquid. Suppose we are having one liquid. So inside the liquid, whatever viscosity of that liquid is there, that is mainly because of cohesive force and molecular momentum exchange. Because of cohesive force and molecular momentum exchange. Out of these two parameters, cohesive force will have the predominant nature in the cause of viscosity. Cohesive force will have the predominant nature as compared to molecular momentum exchange. म्हणजे लिक्विड मधली viscosity जी असते ती मेनली कशामुळे असते, cohesive force मुळे असते. Now when I'm going to heat the liquid, so whenever I'm heating the liquid, the cohesive force म्हणजे काय, सिमिलर मॉलिक्युल मधला फोर्स ऑफ अट्रॅक्शन, त्याला काय म्हणतोय, कोहेजिव्ह फोर्स म्हणतोय. लिक्विड मधले जे काही विस्कोसिटी आहे ती मेनली कशामुळे आहे, कोहेजिव्ह फोर्समुळे आहे. ज्यावेळेस मी एखाद्या लिक्विडला हिट करेल त्यावेळेस काय होणार आहे, त्या ठिकाणी कोहेजिव्ह फोर्सचं बॉन्ड जे आहे किंवा कोहेजिव्ह फोर्सची व्हॅल्यू जी आहे ती काय होणार आहे, कमी होणार. सो बाय इन्क्रीजिंग द व्हॅल्यू ऑफ टेम्परेचर, in case of liquid, the value of viscosity of liquid will goes on decreasing. And whenever I'm reducing the temperature of liquid, एखादा टेम्परेचर लिक्विड मधलं टेम्परेचर रिड्यूस करतोय, ह्याचा अर्थ काय करतोय, त्या ठिकाणी कोहेजिव्ह फोर्सची व्हॅल्यू जी आहे ती इन्क्रीज करतोय. म्हणजे बाय रिड्युसिंग द टेम्परेचर ऑफ लिक्विड, द व्हॅल्यू ऑफ विस्कॉसिटी of liquid will goes on increasing. And here instead of liquid, if I am going to consider the gas, suppose one piston cylinder assembly is there, and in that piston cylinder assembly we are having the gas, किंवा विस्कॉसिटी ऑफ गॅस जे आहे ते मेनली कशामुळे असतं, मॉलिक्युलर मोमेंटम एक्सचेंज मुळे असतं. आणि त्या ठिकाणी कोहेजिव्ह फोर्सची व्हॅल्यू जी असते ती निग्लिजिबल असते. सो whenever I'm increasing the temperature of gas, here internal molecular force, internal energy of that gas molecule will goes on increasing, and here molecular exchange or molecular momentum will also goes on increasing. That's why in case of gas, by increasing the temperature, the value of viscosity of that gas will also goes on increasing. So effect of temperature on the viscosity. So there is a effect of temperature, or temperature is affecting on the viscosity. How that temperature is affecting on the viscosity? In case of liquid, viscosity will goes on decreasing with increasing temperature, and viscosity will goes on increasing by decreasing temperature. Why this is so? Because in case of liquid, cohesive force will have the predominant nature as compared to molecular momentum transfer, and because of increasing temperature, the cohesive force value will goes on decreasing, and hence it will goes on decreasing. Similarly, in case of gas, value of viscosity of that gas will goes on increasing with increasing temperature. Why this is so? Because in case of gas, whatever value of viscosity is there, that is mainly because of molecular momentum transfer. That means molecular momentum transfer will predominant in causing the viscosity. So by increasing temperature, molecular momentum transfer will also goes on increasing. Hence, value of viscosity of that gas will also goes on increasing. Now, for GATE exam or for various competitive exam, problem will be asked related to the viscosity of liquid and viscosity of gas. So, value of viscosity of liquid at any temperature will be calculated by using this formula. Mu is equal to mu 0 into bracket 1 upon alpha t plus beta t square. म्हणजे जर मला एखादं लिक्विड असेल, समजा माझ्याकडे काय वॉटर आहे आणि वॉटरची 70 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेडची विस्कॉसिटी पाहिजे मला कॅल्क्युलेट करायची आहे. वॉटरची 70 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेडची विस्कॉसिटी मला कॅल्क्युलेट करायची आहे. आता वॉटर काय लिक्विड आहे. So for liquid, I am going to use this formula. Here, mu is nothing but dynamic viscosity of that liquid for the given temperature or for that temperature. कोणत्या टेम्परेचरला मला फाइंड आउट करायचे? 70 डिग्रीला. म्हणजे ह्या ठिकाणी टेम्परेचरची व्हॅल्यू काय येणार आहे? 70 डिग्री. आणि म्यू म्हणजे काय असणार आहे? 70 डिग्रीचा डायनॅमिक विस्कॉसिटी असणार आहे. म्यू झिरो टर्म इज इंडिकेटिंग द dynamic viscosity of that liquid at 0 degree centigrade. And whatever alpha and beta terms are there, those are nothing but the constant term. So mu is nothing but viscosity of liquid at T degree centigrade, that will be in terms of poise. Mu 0 viscosity of liquid at 0 degree centigrade, that will be in terms of poise also. Alpha and beta are nothing but the constant of liquid. So if you are going to consider the example of water, alpha and beta are nothing but constant for that water. So alpha value is nothing but 0.03368. Beta value is nothing but 0.000221. So those are the values of alpha and beta. So by using this equation, you are able to find out the value of viscosity of that fluid at any temperature. Similarly, in case of gas also, there is one formula. That formula is nothing but mu is equal to mu 0 plus alpha t minus beta t square. Here also, mu is indicating the dynamic viscosity. T is nothing but temperature at which I have to find out the dynamic viscosity. म्हणजे एखादा गॅस आहे, ऍटमॉस्फेरिक एअर आहे समजा, त्या ऍटमॉस्फेरिक एअरचं मला 70 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेडला डायनॅमिक विस्कॉसिटी फाइंड आउट करायचे. सो म्यू इज नथिंग बट डायनॅमिक विस्कॉसिटी ऑफ दॅट गॅस ऍट T डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड, म्हणजे कोणत्या टेम्परेचरला फाइंड आउट करायचे. म्यू 0 इज नथिंग बट dynamic viscosity of that gas at 0 degree centigrade. Alpha and beta are nothing but the constant for that gas. So if you are going to consider the air, then for air, value of mu 0 is nothing but equal to 0.4 times 0.17. mu 0 म्हणजे काय? एअरचे 0 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेडची डायनॅमिक विस्कॉसिटीची व्हॅल्यू आहे. आणि अल्फा अँड बीटा फॉर एअर साठी अल्फा अँड बीटा कॉन्स्टंट ज्या व्हॅल्यू आहेत, त्या व्हॅल्यू ऑफ अल्फा अँड बीटा इज नथिंग बट दिस इज द व्हॅल्यू ऑफ अल्फा 0.1234567 times 056, and beta is nothing but 0.1189 into 10 raised to minus 9. So those are the values of alpha and beta. Important thing you have to keep in mind that whatever viscosity is there, whatever mercury is there, the viscosity of mercury does not changes with respect to temperature. So lowest value of viscosity of any fluid of any fluid will occur at a critical temperature. Then next point is there, that is called as the classification of fluid. So whatever fluid is there, that fluid will be classified based on the Newton's law of viscosity. So there will be 5 categories. First one will be called as the ideal fluid. Second one will be called as a real fluid. Then third one will be called as a Newtonian fluid. Next one will be called as a non-Newtonian, and last one will be called as the ideal plastic fluid. So out of that, first one is called as the ideal fluid. So ideal fluid means the fluid which does not possess any type of viscosity, and the fluid which does not have which is incompressible in nature. म्हणजे जे fluid incompressible in nature आहे, on the earth's surface there is not a single fluid can be called as an ideal, and every possibility as well as some value of compressibility. So the ideal fluid is an imaginary concept. Ideal fluid is an imaginary concept because each and every fluid available on the earth's surface will have the viscosity as well as the property called as the compressibility. Then that means whatever fluids are available on the earth's surface, those all the fluids will be called as a real fluid. Whatever fluids are available on the earth's surface, all those fluid will be called as a real fluid. Real fluid means fluid which is having the compressibility and which are viscous in nature or which are possessing the viscosity. Those will be called as a real fluid. So example of a real fluid, all the liquid, all the gases, all the liquid, all the gases, or whatever fluids are available on the earth's surface, all are the real fluid. Then next type is called as the Newtonian fluid. Next type is called as a Newtonian fluid. So whatever real fluids are there, so that a real fluid will be again classified into 3 categories. Real fluid will be again classified into 3 categories. First one will be called as the Newtonian fluid. What is meant by Newton's law of viscosity? Shear stress is directly proportional to unit rate of shear strain. Shear stress is directly proportional to unit rate of shear strain. That is called as a Newton's law of viscosity. So the fluid which is obeying the Newton's law called as a Newtonian fluid. Example of Newtonian fluid. So all the gases, water, benzene, ethyl alcohol, CCl4 and hexane. All the gases, water, benzene, ethyl alcohol, CCl4 and hexane, those will come under the category of Newtonian fluid. Then second type or next type is called as a non-Newtonian fluid. So the fluid which does not obey Newton's law of viscosity. The fluid which does not obey Newton's law of viscosity, that will be called as a non-Newtonian fluid. So that non-Newtonian fluid is also real fluid. Non-Newtonian fluid is also type of a real fluid. So that non-Newtonian fluid will does not obey the Newton's law of viscosity, means in case of non-Newtonian fluid, shear stress is not directly proportional to unit rate of shear strain. So example of non-Newtonian fluid, whatever slurries are there, then whatever gel is there, polymer solution, blood, printer ink, then toothpaste, greases, paint, slurries, gel, polymer solution, blood, printer ink, then toothpaste, then grease, paint, those will fall under the category of non-Newtonian fluid. Then next one is next fluid is called as a ideal plastic fluid. Next fluid is called as a ideal plastic fluid. So ideal plastic fluid means up to certain point, though you are going to apply the shear stress, up to certain point, though you are going to apply the shear stress, then also the value of shear strain is equal to 0. Though you are going to apply the shear stress, then also the value of shear strain is equal to 0. But after that yield point, the value of shear stress is directly proportional to shear strain. That will be called as the ideal plastic fluid. सो बेस्ट एक्झाम्पल ऑफ आयडियल प्लास्टिक फ्लुइड इज नथिंग बट क्ले. चिखल जो आहे किंवा आपण जे काय कणिक वगैरे बनवतो, चपाती बनवण्यासाठी जे काही कणिक वगैरे बनवतो, सो दॅट विल बी द एक्झाम्पल ऑफ आयडियल प्लास्टिक फ्लुइड. नाउ next concept is there, that is called as a surface tension. Next concept is there, that is called as a surface tension. So surface tension means if you are going to consider the water, you are going to consider the water which is available in the bucket, or water which is flowing on the in the river. तुम्हाला एक एक्झाम्पल माहित असेल, ज्यावेळेस वाहत्या पाण्यावरती एखादं झाडाचं पान पडतं, जर एखादी नदी जर बघितली आणि नदीच्या कडेला जर एखादं झाड असेल, तर त्या झाडाचं पान जर खाली पाण्यामध्ये पडलं, तर ते झाडाचं पान जे आहे ते त्यावरती त्या पाण्यावरती तरंगतं. कशामुळे? That is mainly because of this. So here you are going to consider the 3 points. Suppose this as the point number 1, this as the point number 2, and this as the point number 3. So here we are knowing that there are 2 types of intermolecular force of attraction. So first one is called as a cohesive force of attraction. Second one is called as the adhesive force of attraction. So cohesive force of attraction means force of attraction between 2 similar molecules, called as a cohesive force of attraction. And adhesive force of attraction means force of attraction between 2 dissimilar molecules, that is called as a adhesive force of attraction. Now here, if you are going to consider this as a liquid molecule, one liquid molecule, so here whatever this liquid molecule is there, so this liquid molecule is surrounded by this same liquid molecule. त्या लिक्विड मॉलिक्यूलच्या सराउंडिंगला जर बघितलं तुम्ही, त्या लिक्विड मॉलिक्यूलच्या सराउंडिंगला जर बघितलं, तर त्या ठिकाणी काय सेम लिक्विड मॉलिक्यूल आहे. दॅट्स वाय हिअर whatever force of attraction which is acting on this liquid molecule will be there, that will be equal in all the direction. त्या लिक्विड मॉलिक्यूल वरती ऍक्ट होणारा जो काय फोर्स ऑफ अट्रॅक्शन जो असणार आहे, तो काय असणार आहे, इक्वल इन ऑल द डायरेक्शन असणार आहे. आणि इक्वल इन ऑल द डायरेक्शन असल्यामुळं नेट फोर्स जो असणार आहे, त्या लिक्विड मॉलिक्यूल वरती ऍक्ट होणारा नेट फोर्स जो असणार आहे, तो काय असणार आहे, 0 असणार आहे. त्या ठिकाणी नेट फोर्स जो असणार आहे, तो काय असणार आहे, 0 असणार आहे. Now here, if you consider this as a second molecule, so actually this molecule is likewise. हा मॉलिक्यूल कसा असायला पाहिजे होता, असा असायला पाहिजे होता. पण त्या ठिकाणी काय, एवढा पोर्शन जो आहे, एवढा पोर्शन काय, त्या मॉलिक्यूलचा एवढा पोर्शन सेम लिक्विड मध्ये इमर्स झालेला आहे. मॉलिक्यूलचा एवढा पोर्शन जो आहे, तो सेम लिक्विड मध्ये इमर्स झालेला आहे. आणि एवढा पोर्शन जो आहे, तो कशामध्ये आहे, एअर मध्ये आहे. म्हणजे ह्या ठिकाणी फोर्स ऑफ अट्रॅक्शन जे असणार आहे, त्या ठिकाणी फोर्स ऑफ अट्रॅक्शन जे असणार आहे, ते एवढ्या डायरेक्शनला किंवा एवढ्या कर्वेचर मध्ये काय असणार आहे, सेम फोर्स ऑफ अट्रॅक्शन असणार आहे, किंवा ते म्हणजे काय असणार आहे, कोएजिव्ह फोर्स मुळे असणार आहे. आणि हा जो काय उरलेला कर्वेचर आहे, त्या उरलेल्या कर्वेचर मुळे उरलेल्या कर्वेचर मध्ये कशामुळे असणार आहे, adhesive फोर्स मुळे असणार आहे. आणि ह्या ठिकाणी कोएजिव्ह फोर्सची व्हॅल्यू जी असणार आहे, जास्त असणार आहे ऍज कम्पेअर्ड टू adhesive फोर्स. दॅट्स वाय नेट इफेक्ट acting on this molecule B will be in the vertically downward direction. Net effect acting on this molecule B will be in the vertically downward direction. Now here, if you consider this as a third liquid molecule, so here 50% of this liquid molecule is in the liquid and remaining imaginary 50% is in the air. So here, त्या ठिकाणी फोर्स ऑफ अट्रॅक्शन त्या पोर्शन वरती, हाफ कर्वेचर वरती जे काही फोर्स ऑफ अट्रॅक्शन असणार आहे, ते कशामुळे असणार आहे, बिकॉज ऑफ कोएजिव्ह फोर्स. आणि उरलेल्या हाफ पोर्शन वरती कशामुळे असणार आहे, बिकॉज ऑफ adhesive फोर्स. आणि ह्या ठिकाणी काय असणार आहे, कोएजिव्ह फोर्सची व्हॅल्यू काय असणार आहे, जास्त असणार आहे ऍज कम्पेअर टू adhesive फोर्स असणार. कोएजिव्ह फोर्सची व्हॅल्यू ऍज कम्पेअर टू adhesive फोर्स काय असणार आहे, जास्त असणार आहे. आणि त्यामुळं काय होणार आहे, ह्या ठिकाणी ह्या ठिकाणचा हा जो मॉलिक्यूल आहे, तो काय होणार आहे, वर्टिकली डाऊनवर्ड डायरेक्शनला टेंड होणार आहे. त्याची जी तो जो काय असणार आहे, टॉप मोस्ट लेअरचा किंवा टॉप सरफेसचा जो काय मॉलिक्यूल असणार आहे, त्याचा नेट फोर्स काय असणार आहे, वर्टिकल डाऊनवर्ड डायरेक्शनला असणार आहे. आता ह्या सी मॉलिक्यूल सारखे किंवा ह्या बी मॉलिक्यूल सारखे ह्या टॉप सरफेस वरती काय असणार आहे, नंबर ऑफ मॉलिक्यूल्स असणार आहे. नंबर ऑफ मॉलिक्युल्स असणार आहे, ज्यावरती नेट फोर्स जो आहे तो काय होतोय, इन दी व्हर्टिकल डाऊनवर्ड डायरेक्शनला ऍक्ट होतोय. आणि त्याचा कंबाईनली इफेक्ट जो असणार आहे, त्याचा कंबाईन इफेक्ट जो असणार आहे, तो कंबाईन इफेक्ट मुळे काय असणार आहे, कंबाईन इफेक्ट काय असणार आहे, व्हर्टिकल डाऊनवर्ड डायरेक्शनचा फोर्स असणार आहे. आणि त्यामुळे हा जो काय टॉप सरफेस आहे, दॅट विल लुक लाईक अ membrane which is under tension. That will look like a membrane which is under tension. So whatever surface tension phenomenon is there, that is tensile surface tension phenomenon is there, that is acting at the surface of liquid and immiscible liquid interface. So tensile force acting on the surface of liquid, tensile force acting on the surface of liquid which is in contact with gas, or which is in or between two immiscible liquid. Immiscible म्हणजे वॉटर आहे आणि ऑइल आहे, दोन्ही एकमेकांमध्ये मिक्स होतंय का, वॉटर आणि ऑइल मिक्स होत नाही, त्याला काय म्हणणार आहे मी, इमिसिबल लिक्विड म्हणणार आहे. सो टेन्साइल फोर्स ऍक्टिंग ऑन द सरफेस ऑफ लिक्विड which is in contact with the gas, or which is immiscible liquid. So because of this, whatever contact surface will be there, that will behave like a membrane which is under tension. So that will be called as the surface tension phenomenon. So surface tension phenomenon is mainly because of cohesive force between fluid molecules. And whatever unit of surface tension will be there, Newton per meter will be the unit of surface tension. Then last term is there, that is called as the capillarity. So capillarity is nothing but rise or fall of liquid level, rise or fall of liquid level inside the capillary tube. That will be called as a term called as a capillarity. And whatever this capillarity term will be there, that capillarity term will be mainly because of adhesive forces and cohesive forces. So whenever you are going to consider the water, whenever you are going to consider the water, so inside water, if you are going to keep the capillary tube means tube which is having very small diameter, tube which is having very small diameter. So whenever you are immersing the capillary tube inside the water, you will observe that the level of water inside the capillary tube will goes on increasing. Why this is so? Because water and whatever this glass tube will be there, capillary tube is made up of glass tube. So here, in case of water, whatever adhesive force between water molecule and glass tube is there, that will have the higher value as compared to any two water liquid, any two water molecule. And because of this same, there will be the rise of water inside the capillary tube. Instead of water, if you are going to dip a capillary tube inside the mercury, inside the capillary tube will fall, depression will be there, because here cohesive force between two mercury molecule will have the higher value as compared to adhesive force between glass and mercury molecule. And because of the same, there will be the decrease in mercury level inside the capillary tube. So this is the phenomenon called as the capillarity. So here we have completed our practical number 1. Now you can write down the roll number in the chat box. Here we have completed our practical number 1. Thank you. So write down the roll number in the chat box and you can exit the meeting. Thank you.